I came to the sanctuary so that I could just do a little bit of talking to you about some ideas around live streaming. Now, Think Like a Filmmaker is not about making films, right? So that's not it's about applying the techniques of filmmaking to worship design and to worship leadership. But a lot of those will help you as you think about engaging people in a live stream situation. One of the things I wanted to talk to you about is if you're doing a live stream and nobody's at your church, but you've gathered up some people, maybe a few people, and you've gathered up maybe some of your readers and leaders have come, your musicians have come, and a pastor or preacher has come. What I want you to think about is the point of view of the viewer on the screen. So what we're not going to do is just set up the camera and in a wide shot and pretend that people are there and you're just doing worship. You're doing pretend worship. You're going to, I think it's important to just be real and talk right into the camera sometimes. It also allows you to have what's called POV, point of view, right? POV shots. So let's imagine that we go through our script. Let me turn this around. I kind of set some things up here. We go through our script. Here's some of you are doing entering the story. So let's say you're getting ready for Sunday and you've got your script. Now what you might do is go through it and say, what would be the best place to do this from, right? So the first one, we continue on our journey through Lent as we step inside the story of a teacher who turned the world upside down. All right, so you're referring to Lent. You might decide that you want to do that standing by the cross, right? So you're going to figure out, oh, this shot, let's start with it here. Now, if you're the person leading, I'm the only one here in the sanctuary. Nobody's helping me. So I would have somebody else holding the phone, right? Hold the phone as I did the leader part. But I might stand there and I might decide that that's where I'm going to do this first part. I'm going to talk right into the camera. Now, I keep doing this. I keep looking at what I'm on the screen, so I can see where I'm pointing the camera, but that makes my eyes look in a different place. So just be mindful of where the camera actually is, where you're looking, so you can talk right to people. Okay, so like this rather than like this. Okay, you get this. This is basic stuff, but maybe not so basic for some. You might decide, okay, let's revisit this. Maybe you do that introduction. We continue our series on Lent, and you got this point of view. And then, as the soloist begins to sing, maybe you walk through that frame, that doorway. Enter the story, right? So you're gonna help people have the point of view. And actually, it's a point of view they don't normally get to have because they're not the soloist singing and walking up the aisle, and maybe you have the acolyte. Maybe you're following the acolyte, right? Who's carrying the light up. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to just get creative with this and think of, at every point in the service, what might be your camera shot. The images and the words, our eyes, when we're sitting out there, our eyes go in different places. People at home to have a candle ready. And then as you're lighting the candle, invite them to light the candle. So do something interactive where people at home feel like they're part of the ritual action, right? And so, that might be something that you do. You could, during prayer, you could focus then. Sorry, I'm going to make you dizzy. That's another point I want to make, is don't move around too much because people will get dizzy. But you could just focus on that. Or let me get a better angle. Look, there's the cross there we go. Now we're getting good. Okay, there it is. Right, so you might find a spot that you want to have the live stream on, your camera on, during the prayer. That would be a beautiful place that would center us, right? So just don't think that you have to have talking heads all the time. The sermon, let's say, I might set up a stool where I can sit and the camera can get a shot kind of like this, or with the frame in the background if you're doing my entering the story, or get a shot of the Bible as the scripture reading is being done. So in some ways, it's kind of like what I do when I create slide backgrounds for screens. when I'm doing conferences or even local church worship, I don't like to use canned backgrounds. I like to take pictures in the space and then so like I might take a picture I might take this picture right here, lovely. And I might make that, then I might put the word scripture on it and use it as a slide on my screens if I'm using projection technology in worship. And so in essence, that's kind of what you're doing, is you're dreaming up what are the beautiful ways that we can bring the story alive. And the reason why I'm doing this is not just so that you can get fancy or lots of bells and whistles, but the truth is, and this is what I teach about sensory-rich worship, and that is the more we're drawn in through an experience, which includes the visuals, it includes movement, it includes the point of view, it includes an artful sense of the story. The more we do that, the more engaged we are, right? The more we feel like we're there. I have done worship on a live stream a lot. I've done it with goggles and virtual reality. I have done it over the phone. So that's another thing. If you have a lot of people that are not going to be able to just click and open up a live stream, do it over the phone. I've done freeconferencepro.com. Let's just imagine that worst comes to worst and you don't even want to come to the church to do this. You're going to do this at home. And it may even be that you don't have Wi-Fi at the church. You might set up a little thing like this, right? Create a little space, a little visual installation in your space so that you can actually, so let's say you're going to do it live stream with video. You might set it up so that it's like this, and this is in the background. And you're able to talk to people and have a nice background like this. So think about bringing stuff from the church to your house that would make people feel like they're in their sanctuary. Bring one of the candles. Seeing those boundaries. This is what media does for us. This is what live stream does for us. And it means that we can bring a certain space into another space. So think about how you can do that. How can you bring your space into other people's spaces? Here's this week's painting, and I have it set up on my computer separately. Now, I also have at my computer this little speaker, because when you are using your camera for the live stream, you can't send other audio out. You might use the recording, but you couldn't play that on your phone and do the live streaming at the same time. So I just kind of set up my computer where I would play it off of into the little speaker, and then somebody would hit play. Any of our Worship Design Studio materials, I'm giving you permission to use those in whatever way you need to. I would love for you to put worshipdesignstudio.com/series, just so people can get back to the original source. Now, the other music. Here's a couple of things. One is, if you're entering the story, or any of my series, there's often refrains or things that I use that are from the public domain. I try to use some familiar things, so that would be true of this series if you're using Turn Your Eyes Upon Jesus, right? So look in your hymnal, see what's in the public domain, and that is, you don't have to worry about that. If you have some music that you've planned and you're going to go completely live stream, or just partially live stream, you want to be sure that you're looking at those and seeing if they're public domain. If they're not, then you need to care for permissions about that. Live stream permissions, live stream licenses are different than the ones that you just have for, say, one license or CCLI. There are ways to listen to music. So let's say that you have an anthem that your choir was going to do, and they're not going to do it now. You can, in my scripts, the anthems that I suggested, I have the links where you can go listen to where it's already on the internet by the publisher. So that would be another way for people to actually hear the music, is to provide that link so that they can hear it on their computer. What we do want to do is protect those who are the most susceptible, and so we err on the side of caution. So whatever you're going to do, friends, blessings on you, and May you continue to think about ways that you can offer meaning and connection to all the people who so dearly need it.